This is Mick Gillette.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Proops.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Nate Boyer.
This is Hilliard Guest.
This is Nathan
This
East.
is Rob Bell.
This is J.R. Robinson.
This is Dan Stone.
This is Dr. Bob Greenberg.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, I'm Mark Valley.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
This is Tony Jeffries, Olympic bronze medalist, and we're listening to the Break It Down Show.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero, Mark Valley, and Pete A. Turner.
Yes, we are. We are sitting here on the bluffs above the beach in Santa Monica.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Does it get any better than this?
This is great. Yeah.
This is the reason I moved to America for this. You know, where I'm from right now, it's grey skies, rainy, horrible weather, and now we're sitting here in this beautiful...
Where are you from? Midlands or something?
No, I'm from the northeast, a place called Sunderland in the northeast of England.
Sunderland.
Yeah, like 1 hour south of Scotland. Now, people in America always think, oh, you're Scottish, are you Irish? But no, I'm from the north of England, like 1 hour south of Scotland. Yeah.
My girlfriend just walked across Scotland with her son.
Oh, she did?
They went across the waist and then all the way up to the top.
Did she get robbed?
No, not this time. But they did get rescued by like a mountain rescue thing because the two of them got separated one day.
Oh, wow.
And it was kind of funny because it was during the summertime. And she's a Southern California girl. And she's like, it's like winter down here for us.
Yeah, it's freezing. It's pretty miserable, the grey skies.
So you've got a couple boxing gyms.
Yeah, so I'm co-owner in 2 boxing gyms, one in Santa Monica, one in Brentwood, boxing fitness gyms. We don't train fighters, just people for fitness who wants to keep fit. And an education program as well, where we teach personal trainers how to teach boxing. The business is going really well. We got named #1 gym in California for men's fitness and health in 2015. And yeah, business is really good. We just put an offering on our 3rd location in West Hollywood. So yeah, it's going really well. I'm a former retired boxer. So now there's nothing that I'd know better to do than box or teach boxing. So that's where I take my life after I retired from boxing.
I'm curious what you think about the state of boxing. Have we seen the last great boxer? Is it possible to cross over outside of the boxing world and into the... I mean, boxing used to be a top 3, top 4 sport.
Yeah.
And it slowly over time kind of found a different location.
Yeah, I think boxing is in a pretty good place right now, especially British boxing. With the likes of the heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua, then you've got lots of prospects coming through, former Olympians. I think boxing's in a good place right now. It's just, it seems like when the heavyweight division is not doing well, like when we had the Tysons, Lennox Lewis, people seem to think like it's not, boxing's dying. But I really believe it's in a good place right now, and we've got some really good fights in the future coming up.
I think viewers are becoming a little more sophisticated with watching boxing and the different types of fighting as well. Because, I mean, I watch some heavyweights now, and I just think, oh, they're going to really hurt each other.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the brain can only get so strong, right?
Yeah.
But you just have these behemoths slugging at each other, and I just kind of wince a little bit.
Yeah,
I'd rather watch middleweights.
It's a scary thing, boxing. Even and not until I retired from boxing, I thought about the damages that boxing's actually done. So I had 106 fights in my career, and I'd done the maths. And if I sparred 10 times in each one of them 106 fights, 6 rounds, and in each round I got punched 7 times in the head. Anyway, I've done the maths, and I've been punched in the head around 50,000 times.
Jesus.
Now that's scary. Them scary numbers. So I've just getting back from Vegas, getting some brain tests done. I was there a year ago in the Cleveland clinic where they test former fighters' brains, and they're doing a big study on it. And my results came back all right, but it's a worrying thing that you've been punched in the head 50,000 times.
Where do you fall with the debate with wearing headgear in the Olympics?
I'm against not wearing it. I think we should wear it because the biggest thing that takes damage after the brain is your hands, you know. And now if you're punching a head guard, it's protecting not only the person's head and eyes and skin, it's protecting your hands. And, you know, I had 96 amateur fights. I had 1 cut in an amateur boxing fight, and then because I had head guards on. As a pro,
so with these 3 round, I mean, how long were the amateur fights in England?
They were like four rounds.
4 rounds.
So then when I turned pro, I had 10 pro fights, and I had like 8 cuts in 10 pro fights through heads clashing like this.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
And that's why it's great in amateur boxing, because the only really time the public watches amateur boxing is in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we've got Commonwealth Games in England. And now if you're a parent and you're watching kids fighting in the Olympics and they're getting cut all the time, you're not going to put your kid into boxing, are you, really, if there's got blood coming right down the face? Because now cuts have went right up in amateur boxing through not wearing head guards. So I think it's really bad for boxing, because now parents are seeing that and thinking, am I hell putting my child in a sport where you're getting your face cut to pieces?
Or even like Olympic trials. I mean, if you get some of the early fights, if you get a cut, you're kind of screwed up for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah,
right?
and that's a big thing that's happening now that they've took the head guards out, is cuts all the time, as well as hand injuries. I had no head guards when I was amateur boxer, no way would I went to the Olympics, because my hands couldn't have took the punishment.
I remember hearing about but like, have you been on Joe Rogan's podcast?
I've heard it. I've not been on that one yet.
You'd be a great guest for that.
Yeah.
But he talks a lot about fighting, like the original fights and the original boxing matches. They didn't really have like a set number of rounds. I mean, there's a ring of people, right? And that the real limitation was the hands. I mean, it was how hard. It wasn't how hard you could hit somebody, but how hard could your hands take it. So you had to be a little more. And I think that's why. I mean, people get into like, martial arts now. You had to be a little more savvy about how you punch somebody, where you punch somebody.
Yeah,
the accuracy was so much more important because your hands couldn't take a beating.
Yeah,
like
they're taking punishment, and then not just in the fights, in the gym as well. You're pounding your hands constantly, punching, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 times a day. I've just made that number up. I might be totally off, but I bet it is.
It sounded great to me. I was feeling
no,
it, yeah.
I bet it is. If you're punching 60 times in a round, well, I don't know, or 100 times around. But yeah, your hands are taking so much punishment, and that's the thing with, like you said, the old school fighters when they used to fight back then as well. They didn't have the hand wraps as good as they are now.
Right.
But even professional boxing gloves are tiny. They've got very little padding in as well. You compare the boxing gloves to UFC gloves. There's not that much of a difference in it, really. When you wear the little 10-ounce or 8-ounce Mexican style gloves with hardly any padding in. They put and I know the 10 ounces, most of the weight's in the wrist or in the lace.
People come to you to work out and doing the boxing thing. Are they coming with an idea of trying to do a little bit of sparring? Is that part of what you guys do at all, or no?
No, not really. I don't recommend sparring. We have a sparring class. I do the sparring class, but since I retired, since the last couple of years, I'm against getting hit in the head. I hate to see people getting hit in the head. So with that, the maths that I've done about how many times I've been punched in the head, by the time I was 13, I think I had 6 fights, and I'd done the maths then, and a 13-year-old, I'd been punched in the head around 5,000 times as a 13-year-old,
right,
before your brain's even developed. So yeah, I mean, it's scary shit. So now, to answer your question, when people come to the gym, it's more for the fitness. People, they say they want to spar, then they'll do a sparring session, and they get popped in the nose, not even hard, and then they don't want to do it again. So I mean, boxing's I'd say the best workout you've boxed, the best workout you'll get. You know?
Yeah, because it's a great mix of anaerobic and aerobic, and just if you want to hit your VO2 max, go put some gloves on and start moving around real quick. And
it's a real full body workout. Like a lot of people who've not boxed before, they think you're just working out your arms, but you're not. You're working out your legs, your core, your back, everything. You're working out your full. You're also
body. Like regulating your adrenaline, your fear, your anger, your
exactly
all those emotions, you know.
It's kind of like a form of therapy. What people tell us, like, because when you're boxing and you've not done it for that long, all you're thinking about is actually boxing, getting the combinations off. And another thing about boxing workout is, like, every time you box, you get better. Like, you can see big improvements if you're starting off, you know. So you'll come in day 1, you'll be not very good. Day 2, you'll be quite a lot better. Day 3, you'll be much better, and you just keep getting better and better. Compared to if you went to a CrossFit gym and you're doing a bench press, it's going to take weeks before you can see the big improvements. But with boxing, it's like kind of instantaneous. And this day and age now, I'm sure you both know, everyone wants shit done like that. You want to get instant results with the social media, and the attention spans are now shorter. So when they're seeing these improvements, I mean, it's took off. We get all sorts of celebrities coming to the gym, models doing it now around the world, which is helping boost boxing, boost our business. Everyone seems to be boxing right now, and it's great for us because we're the centre of it, and we're the only people who's really doing our education program where we teach people how to teach boxing. Because I mean, there's a boxing trainer just behind us there, where other Santa Monica Bluffs. And I was looking, I was like, oh, he's not doing this right, he's not doing that right.
Right.
And that's kind of the reason why I really wanted to start the education program, because I see people like him who doesn't really know what they're doing, and their clients really want to box. I mean, and there's a gap in the market for it. Let me show this guy here how to do it correctly. Now your client's going to get better results. You're not going to get your wrists injured off holding the pads correctly, incorrectly. So, yeah, I mean, it's going really well.
So what do you think about boxing? Like, I went to Cuba once, and I went to like downtown Havana. It was, not too long ago. And there was a boxing gym there. And yeah, I mean, they had Russian tractor tires along the walls. The kids were punting. And they had a lot of young kids in there. Where we have kids doing baseball, they were boxing.
Yeah.
And it was just a regular thing. The kids were taking 5-year-olds taking a punch and getting back up and coming back into it.
Yeah, it's crazy. In Cuba, it's like their number one sport. Like, what's America's sport? Is it American football? Is it basketball? What's the number one in America?
Baseball, football,
yeah,
something like that.
It's like
big
that.
three, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. Everyone gets into boxing in Cuba, and the Cubans, they have 300, 400 fights, but they box 3 times a week. It's like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is fight day. So they're fighting all the time, getting that experience. That's why at one point, I don't think it is right now, but at one point they were the best amateur boxing team in the world, like for years and years and years, because it's like the national sport. But now it's not like, I think now like the Russians and the Kazakhs, the Eastern Europeans have kind of taken over the number one spot in boxing, in amateur boxing.
Why is that?
I think they've just getting the boxing program, and as well, like, it's kind of their national sport now. They're putting a lot of money and a lot of funding into it, so the guys can all train together. And that's a big thing with amateur boxing, is if you can manage to somehow fund these boxers, because it's an amateur sport, you can't get paid. If you can somehow fund the boxers, the program's going to be better. Like, for instance, in England, when I was 16, I got put on an 8-year training program. It was called the World Class Program. They've got all the national champions, 16-year-olds, put you on this program for the 2008 Olympics, and we all train together. Because if you're training with champions, you're only going to get better, because they got funding, and we got funding, and it wasn't very much, but we got funding, and we were able to travel around the world and fight different champions, which took our boxing program to the next level. And then when I got to like 18, I was getting paid, so I didn't have to work. It wasn't much; it was $1,000 a month. But where I'm from, it was a lot of money. And I was like, yes, that's great. So now I didn't have to work. Now I could put my focus on boxing, and they took us all to train together 3 times a week. So it took us to the next level, and that's why now England, Great Britain have got one of the best amateur boxing teams in the world because of funding. And I really think that's what these Kazakhstans, Uzbekistans are doing, kind of like Cuba are doing. I don't know what their funding was, but I bet the kids got fed and all that, for boxing.
Oh yeah, it was like a national. Yeah, it was like
a national sport. Yeah. So yeah, and with all of these countries, like Kazakhstan, for example, they produced Triple G, who now is one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, and there's a lot more of Triple G's coming up and through what we don't know about. I've always wondered, why do these boxing promoters, not go to the Eastern European countries and grab the likes of Triple G, the Russians? But now, the last few years, they're starting now. There's a few coming through right now.
You were just talking about the fitness part of fighting and CrossFit. CrossFit team, I did CrossFit back in the early 2000s, the early part, in the aughts, back in the aughts. It's just such a dynamic and painful way to work out.
Yeah.
What are the common injuries from working out with boxing as a core?
Yeah, we get it all the time where people come from CrossFit. Like, I went to CrossFit and I got injured. It gets serious injuries. With boxing, I think the number one injury that we see, which is very, very rare, is wrists. People not punching correctly, so they'll throw a hook and they'll hurt the wrist. But that's very, very rare. And at our gyms, what we do, we put hand wraps on everyone before the workout, so people don't really get injured.
Yeah.
But if you're doing boxing for fitness, it's a safe sport. We've got what's it called? I can't remember the name of it, but we've got a Parkinson's class where people with Parkinson's disease, they come 3 times a week and they're boxing fitness, and it's amazing for Parkinson's, helping your motor skills and all that.
Apparently, it's helped Freddie out quite a bit too.
Yeah,
he might have some tremors, but as soon as he gets in the ring and he's holding the mitts, he focuses in, and it's like his moves are just whap, whap, whap.
Yeah, it's so good for that. And I've just, like I said, I've been to Vegas last week talking to the doctor. I actually did a podcast with him. He was telling us as well, for Alzheimer's patients as well, it's not been proven yet, but he believes that it'll be really good for Alzheimer's patients. Yeah, so it's funny because you think like boxing, it can be really bad, but the benefits are massive, so big.
And do you guys do anything with the legs at all that you incorporate just to get those things, because they're such big muscles?
Yeah, well, legs, if you're doing proper boxing, you're moving around, quite constant moving, you're not standing still, so you throw a combination, you'll move your feet. But with our classes, we do some cross-training as well, so you'll do you'll do 70% boxing, and 30% it'll be S&C, like strength and conditioning, so you'll be working your legs, your arse, and all that.
So I just another question, like, at what age would you have your kids start boxing?
My kids will not box. Definitely not box. My kids will not get punched in the head. But I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and my wife's due next month as well for another one. So we'll have 3 young little girls.
Congrats.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
So my hands are full. But like me 3-year-old now, I'll tell her to get in the boxing stance. It's in the boxing stance. I'll show you how to throw punches.
Yeah.
As soon as she's old enough to understand, she's going to be learning how to box. It's the best. I would get my kids into boxing as soon as I can. We do 6 years old at our gym, where they can start to do boxing. But I would totally recommend you get your kids into boxing, training, not getting punched in the head,
right?
Learning how to box. And as well, jiu-jitsu was another thing I want to get them into. You've done jiu-jitsu before, did you say?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So jiu-jitsu as well for self-defense in case you get dragged to the ground. I've done some of that. I think boxing and jiu-jitsu is amazing for kids as long as they're not getting punched in the head.
Yeah. And do you find that, I mean, it seems like there's these two big, fitness industries that are competing for our souls. There's yoga, and then there's like the martial arts, right? I mean, there's like the meditation, the yoga, and then stretching, strength, balance, and then there's martial arts. Do you find like people that are training for fitness? Do you think it increases people's aggression in some ways, or do you think it makes them more relaxed?
I think it makes them more relaxed because people get, like with boxing, like they're building a lot of tension about work, they're getting stressed out, but they go to boxing and it totally relaxes their mind. It's like, I kind of like a form of meditation as well, believe it or not. But it goes hand in hand with yoga because that's the kind of meditation, relaxing one, and then you go to boxing. We've got a lot of people who do both, and we've actually just done a big Facebook ad campaign about, it's like the yin and yang, the yoga and boxing. They go together really, really well. And then we target in this ad to yoga people,
Smart.
Yeah, that's what we're doing for the next big Facebook campaign. So if it pops up on your Facebook feed, you heard it here first.
That's right.
Read it, like it, share it.
Yeah.
Mark, when you're preparing for a role and you've got to get into a certain level of fitness, do you consider something like boxing or something like that at all? Or what do you do? I mean,
Last time I had to get in really good shape for a part. Yeah, what did I do? No, it was more like CrossFit stuff. It was more like just a variety of different things, And then I just took Kung Fu. I thought, well, there's one character. I thought he's probably got to have like one. What was his baseline thing? Was he a wrestler? Was he, a grappler? What was his thing? Was he I don't know, push hands, Tai Chi guy or what? So I thought, I think this dude was like a Kung Fu guy starting out. That's where he started his training, and it was his base. So I kind of just started that, and then, from the rest of it, when we were working with stunt people, they'd give me more moves. But we realized, that was his start. That was where he came. Yeah, he came through.
When someone like Mark comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm going to be in this movie. I'm going to have to do some fighting," what are some of the things that you give to an actor? Because they don't need to necessarily be great at fighting, but they need to look like the part. Like baseball movies, when they see the pitcher throw, you're like, oh, God. This guy's clearly never thrown a ball hard in his life.
Yeah. I trained Chris Hemsworth for a movie, the Thor guy. And he came and he was doing some fighting scenes, but he wanted, in any successful actor, I'm sure you as well, Mark, when you go into something, you want to do it right. If you're doing Kung Fu, you want to learn the right techniques and do it the right way. Same with him and other actor I've trained. Like, they want to come in, they want to learn it the right way, and that's why they hire me rather than other trainers, because I only teach boxing, and as well, great work ethic. So yeah, we'll work with that. I was just working with an actress on this Seth MacFarlane's new TV show, the Space TV show, whatever.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And she was one of the main actresses in that, and she was doing a fight scene. And all she wanted to do was work on, like, even though the fight scene was like a street fight, she wanted to work on real boxing technique and like learn the real way. And one thing I've noticed with all successful people, whether they're an actor, a chef, for a guy, a stonemason, I'm training a multi-millionaire woman now who's got a a tree farm. Very successful people. The work ethic's always massive. That's one thing I've noticed. No matter whatever you're successful in, when you come to the gym, they work their asses off. You know? That's one thing everyone's got in common who's successful. When they're in that gym, they give 100%.
I had a question though. Do you find I was at a spin class the other day? There was mostly women in there. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting a little bit older. I'm not quite as vicious on the bike or anything or working out. But I thought, damn, there was just the intensity was pretty amazing. And do you find like a level of how do you compare the level of aggression with your male clients compared to your or the quality of aggression? Is it different with women? Is it different with men?
Yeah, you know what? It's a lot easier for women to learn how to box than men, because men come in and it's like holding their breath, tensing up, trying to punch as hard as they can, and then women come in, they're like la di da da da, and the women pick it up like that. Because the hardest thing to teach in teaching boxing is how to breathe and relax. Where men are so uptight and they think, hold the breath, punch this bag as hard as I can, I punch the mitts as hard as I can. Where women are not bothered about that, so they'll learn the technique better and faster.
Yeah, with men, it's like a part of your identity in some ways.
Right, yeah.
You know? Like you've got to be able to punch hard, and that you're going to be judged if you can't. Whereas women come in, it's like, maybe that's why I took to knitting so well. There was no pressure.
Yeah,
you know? It was just
especially
like, I can do this.
Especially when the gym's full of women, and you're a man, you're gonna try and punch as hard as you can.
Yeah, yeah, you're the one.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to go punch that machine at like the Dave and Buster's where like the harder you punch it and the light goes up, that kind of thing?
Yeah. I was with a full England boxing team one time. We were at a fairground and there was one of them machines.
Yeah.
And I had bad hands at the time, right? So I went watch this, and there was loads of girls around. It was just packed, and they knew we had England boxing team on our back. So I thought I kind of punch it, I'll elbow it. So I pressed the button and come down, and I thought I'm going to get this high score. I ran, tried to elbow it, and I missed, and I fell, and I banged my head off the fucking back of the machine. Everyone was laughing their heads off. I felt like a right dick. So since then, I've never punched one of the machines since.
I thought you were going to say your head hit it, and like it's the record went.
Oh, it might do that, yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
My big head.
The Irish jab.
Yeah. So I'll not go on them machines again.
So you have two gyms, one here in Santa Monica, one in Brentwood, and then a new one in West Hollywood.
Yeah, we've put the offer in. We've not really announced this yet, so again, this is the first time when the show will go out. So yeah, we put one in West Hollywood, and that's it. Me and my business partner, who's a personal trainer, Kevin. It's funny because when we started on the Santa Monica Bluffs, where we are right now, a little bit further down there. We started a boot camp for donations only, and it got really busy. Then we opened the first gym, and when we were opening the first gym, we had the actor Mickey Rourke. I'm sure you know Mickey Rourke. We used to train his girlfriend, and he was going to be an investor in the gym. He was going to give us $100,000. Like, nice. And then he was away doing a movie, that Sin City movie. And when he came back, we found a location. I put my savings into it, thinking when he comes back, I'm going to get the $100,000 back. Then he came back and he changed what we initially agreed on. So we went, oh no, it doesn't matter. We went our separate ways, and that there was the best thing we'd done. You know, because we figured out we didn't need the $100,000. It would have been nice, and now there's just two of us in the gym. We haven't got a third person. We have to give them a percentage. But yeah, I mean, we started off at the Santa Monica Bluffs doing donations only. We found that location. We went and got that. It got so busy within 18 months. We opened the second location, and then we got the education program going where like we teach people, and then the third location. But it's so busy. There's not enough hours in the day, and as well as me podcast as well. But you know what? I'm loving life.
So how does the education program work? I mean, are you using like online tutorials, or is this just like a class people show up to?
Yeah, we've just launched the online course this week, and that's going to be ready. We'll take a pre-registration for that. It's called the Box and Burn Academy. So if you want to check it out, boxandburnacademy.com. Yeah, we'll get it in the show notes.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then yes, so we've done the day courses where people can. Come, we'll announce it. We've done 12 this year. We've sold out 12. No, we sold out 11. We never sold out Phoenix. We've travelled around the country doing this, and so people come in before we teach them how to teach boxing. We teach them how to box, because obviously it's very important that you know what the hell you're doing before you try and teach it.
Yeah.
So it's a one-day course. We teach you how to wrap hands, do a boxing-specific warm-up, then how to box. And the second half of the day, we teach you how to hold the focus mitts and do that. And then we understand that You're not going to leave after one day being an expert at how to teach boxing. It takes a lot longer than that. So we've got an online video tutorial as well, where you can go on there and you can log in and you can see that. But we give everyone the tools they need to go on and be a good boxing trainer, to start teaching your clients the basics of boxing. Now that's a level 1 course. Now we've got the level 2 course where it's more advanced. You learn different combinations, different defences. But like I say, we've sold out these courses. We're in high demand. That's why we launched the education course 2 days ago, the pre-registration, and already we've had 15 people sign up.
Wow.
At 300.
So these are people that are already trainers, because it seems like to be a personal trainer at Gold's or something is one thing, but to be a personal trainer with the martial arts, where like people are striking things at a high velocity, you'd want to have some sort of certification, right?
Right. Yeah, it is. That's what it is. So we get people who's got experience who want to come and get a legit certification for it. We've got people who's had zero experience who want to learn as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going really well, and now our name is building. We're associated with, I'm sure you're not familiar with NASM, NESM, ACE, ISSA, all these top USA personal training certificates. So you get continued education if you do our course for them. So it's
that's cool.
Yeah.
It's affiliated.
It's affiliated with them, and then Everlast as well. The boxing company Everlast, they associate with us. So it's really, really blew up. And like I said, there was a big gap in the market for it, and we've took that gap with both hands, and now we've put this amazing education program together. And the results people's getting from it is great. We get personal trainers telling us that they're earning more income, they're training their clients better, because like I said, boxing's great because you're learning it all the time. But yeah, we absolutely smashing it with that. We sold it's $400 for the online course. We're doing the pre-registration $300, and we've sold 15 in a couple of days. So it's not doing too bad.
That's great. Yeah,
that's fantastic. As someone tries to build a boxing-based training thing, what's like a fair expectation for what they can bring in money-wise?
You don't have to. That's the good thing about, if you want to open a boxing gym, you don't need that much money. You don't need treadmills. You don't need all these fancy weights or fancy machines. Yeah. You can, like I said, where we're sitting right now.
Tractor tires on the wall.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Where we're sitting right now, we started our gym here. Right. We had mitts, gloves, hand wraps, agility ladder, $20 agility ladder. We had a few med balls, $100 each. You know, it cost nothing. And we took that equipment into a facility. Then every time we made money, we put it back in the facility. We put it all back in the facility. You know, we were smart with it. Where I think people, you know, there's that quote: perfection prevents productivity. If you wait to be perfect before you open a gym, you're preventing your productivity from moving forward. Where we did that. The gym wasn't perfect. It was a Halloween store, empty warehouse. We had nothing, and little by little we built it up, and now it's just about perfect. You know.
Yeah, we're literally sitting in a park right now. This is where the gym was.
This is where the gym started right here. Yeah.
We had this kung fu instructor. He was like the Tai Chi champion in China. We would spar, and he would say, "Just try to do anything. Just try to hit me. You want." But when we trained, he said, "You could practice all your moves." I said, "You could. You're not sparring with me. You could just use that tree right there.
Just punch the tree.
Well, like hit the tree with strikes at different parts of your legs to toughen up your. I would try that, but then people are going to look at you. You're going to get put in a van and take it away. You know?
Yeah, it's some crazy shit.
I was like, fight a tree? Really? We do in China.
There's that video.
Really?
That video of that young girl. Have you ever seen that? She's like 12 years old and she's smashing the tree to bits until the tree breaks.
Oh yeah, I
seen that video. Yeah,
I've never seen this. Yeah. So she beats a tree up.
She beats a tree up, and then there's another one where there's some guy. I think he's a Thai guy, and he's just kicking this tree, poof, 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 with these big kicks until the tree actually falls down. And it's like shit.
Jesus,
that would absolutely. I'd cry my eyes out if I kicked the tree. Imagine that. If I stumped my toe off the corner of the bed, I'm crying.
It's like,
I kick the tree.
How does his foot stay together? Do you guys have heavy bags? And I know you have focus mitts, but
yeah, like I said, we've started off with nothing. Now we've got heavy bags, turf. We've got everything. We've got it all. I've been in boxing gyms all my life. I started boxing when I was 10, 32 now. I've been boxing for how long is it? 22 years I've been in the industry, and everything good from all the gyms I've brought in, everything bad I've left out. Like the likes of, we've got a rule, you can't train with your shirt off because I was in boxing gyms before where people's got the shirts off, big men, and they're walking about. It's not a good look for this area, you know. So little rules, like a few little rules like that. We don't have spit buckets like in gyms that have spit buckets. We don't want a spit bucket in our gyms, you know. So we've got rid of that stuff, and we've just made it really good and really, really friendly. So I think as well, if you've never boxed before, you're going to go to a gym. You've all seen the Rocky movie when Rocky walks in the gym,
right?
And everyone stops and they just stare at him. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's Apollo Creed's gym in New York. We're not doing that. We've got people, the desk girls will welcome you, smiles, the trainers all nice. So we've got away from that. So yeah, I mean that's why
I usually try to be considerate with the trainer though if he's holding the mitts. Like wear like a sweatshirt or something, so you don't, not because I'm trying to look cool or lose weight, is you just want to splash the guy.
Yeah, we get
right?
that as well. Where some men
with no shirt on, you're just like sweat everywhere.
Sweat every time they throw a punch, you get a bit of sweat in your mouth. Some salty sweat. It's not good. You know, I boxed a guy in India. I boxed the Indian national champion in New Delhi. I was fighting for England, and we're fighting. He was really good. He was actually beating us. And I smashed him with my right hand, broke his nose. It was like someone turned a tap on, and it was shh. And he went, pff, and he spat, and his blood went all over my face, in his mouth. I could taste his blood. It was disgusting. And then actually the fight got stopped after that, so I won the fight. But yeah,
he was using it for his advantage.
Yeah, fair play. You got to do what you got to do to win, right?
Yeah.
So you think that was on purpose that he did that?
Nah, I don't think so. It was just when your nose broke and you've got blood going back into your mouth, you just need to get it out to try and breathe. So he spat it all over my face. Yeah. Wasn't a good experience.
What kind of stuff is not quite bad form, but right there in boxing, like we're a guy who's trying to take advantage, but within the acceptable limits? Like what's out there that?
What you mean, like what, like
dirty play, like headbutts and elbows?
Dirty
and
plays,
like
yeah.
That.
I mean, getting around the other side of the referee. See, when you're experienced and you're a fighter, you know exactly where the referee is at all times. So you can hold your opponent at the other side of the referee. But I mean, there's elbows where you'll throw a hook and you'll come all the way through with the elbow. You can grab someone's arm and pull it up so it hurts the arm. I wasn't really into that stuff.
Yeah.
I was into the things I used to do to frustrate my opponents. I fought their American team captain in Chicago in the Olympic qualifiers. His name was Christopher Downs, and this is in the amateurs. And I knew that I was 8 points up going into the last round. So the only way he could win me was by knocking us out. So all I did was run away from him. So I was running. I got warned a couple of times the referee wasn't allowed to do that. So I was running and he was getting frustrated. He'd come close to us. And every time he did, I'd hit him and I'd keep running.
It's Mayweather.
Yeah. Right?
Right.
But now I'm in the last round, and so he got so frustrated. And I ended up winning the fight, qualifying for the Olympics. And he wouldn't shake me on after the fight because it's kind of not fighting, not being engaged. But fuck it. I can swear on this podcast, not. But yeah.
Yeah, you can swear.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Fuck it. I've just qualified for the Olympics, mate. I'm not going to stand and fight with you.
So how would you describe like the English? I mean, it's like, Mexican style, which everybody likes. You get in and you're fucking slaying it out, right? But what's like the English? But I mean, Ricky Hatton's, he mixes it up. What's the English style?
He was kind of that style with the come forward, and that's why he had a massive fan base. I'd say the English boxing style is more like a box fighter, where you can, like me, I could box, I could move like I was saying, but I could punch really hard as well. I could stand and have a fight, and I think that's the thing. Like kind of like Triple G. He's a bit tougher, a bit more likes to stand and fight. But like box fighter, great footwork. Every great boxer, past and present, has got great footwork, and I feel like the American boxers now they're standing a bit flat-footed, trying to look for the knockout punches rather than using the feet for the defense and moving in and out. So I think the British style, the European style is footwork, great footwork, and being able to punch hard as well. Yeah.
So you'd say the European style English is similar to the Russian Eastern Bloc?
Yeah,
kind of stuff as well.
kind of. But I think that with the Russians is, I was going to say a little bit better, but yeah, they are. The Russians are a little bit better. I think they've got that mental toughness. They've got to fight. Or they're going back to the slums or wherever they're from. I think, I might be wrong, but where English, I mean, even though just about every boxer come from another great background, they're not like, if they don't box, if they don't make this boxing, there's something else you probably be able to do. But in Russia, I think they put all the eggs in one basket, and that's why they become so good. They've got nothing. They've got nothing to fall back on.
They don't have as many alternatives.
Yeah.
We had Tony the Tiger Lopez on. He's held a couple of world titles, and he was saying that, at your peak when you're the number one guy, there's a big drop off from 1 to 2, and then again from 2 to 3, and like the 10th guy can't beat the first guy. I mean, any given day, sure, maybe, but just you're at such the end of the peak.
Yeah.
There's such a difference between, Floyd Mayweather. It was hard for him to even be pushed by a guy, and he didn't have to engage. It was never going to get into an Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward kind of fight. Do you find the same kind of thing where like just each step up is just significantly harder?
It isn't. It isn't, and it isn't because I mean Mayweather's a one-off. He's a one-off. He can make anyone look crazy. But you would think Triple G. He was the number one guy. He fought Canelo. That had a very, very close fight. The number one and number two. Yeah, I think there's people out everywhere. We've got like a Cuban Rigondo's fighting Lomachenko. I don't know if you're familiar with
That's going to be an interesting fight.
Yeah. And them's the one and number two, and they're not miles apart. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I believe that statement so much in boxing right now. As an amateur, when I got put on the Great Britain boxing program, the world class program, I was the one traveling the world and fighting and getting more experience, where the number two guy wasn't.
Right.
So in that case, I was well above him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was getting the experience and getting the fun and putting it into me, and he wasn't. But in that case, that statement works.
In my very limited fighting experience back in college, I found it to be kind of like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, where each guy has something, and then I had to use my brain to fight because I thought for a minute I was going to try to be a pro fighter just to make some like food money,
Yeah. And
so my coach was like, "Okay, I'll bring in a guy who's pretty good," and that guy was so much faster than me. He would punch me like through my guard before I could even respond, so I wasn't very good. Let's understand that. But the guys I fought with, they all had certain things. Like one guy, he was Little Sal, and he had really, really powerful hands. He hit you, you'd always see a flash of light.
Yeah.
But before he hit you, he would scrunch up his face, and you're like, oh, get ready, here it comes. And then you could cover up. Did you, does that get washed away as you get to the higher levels, or do guys always have tells or certain patterns?
I mean the higher level, not really, because everyone's really good and they expect it. But I mean, when you get to that level, you can see punches coming. Mm-hmm. So you can defend them just about all the time. That's why it's not like what's it called, sock'em.
Right, sock'em block.
Yeah, that's why it's not like that. When you get to the high level, but when you a big step up against the person that you're fighting, you can see it. When I turned professional, I had 10 pro fights, but I was fighting journeymen. Are you familiar with that term, journeyman?
Sure. Yeah.
I was fighting journeymen who came in for the period, just about all of them, and with them, you know within like the first 30 seconds of the fight whether you're going to win the fight. If it's easy, and if you want to stop them, because you start landing your punches, and you can see their punches coming a mile off. See, it was my career. I fought for England 56 times in Great Britain, fighting champions of different countries, beasts around the world, and then I turned pro, and all my fights were easy. So I took a step down a level, but now I'm getting paid like a shit ton of money,
right,
for these fights, fighting people who's pretty shit, who's coming to lose. I'm getting a shit ton of money for it. It was fucking great. It was great. But I had to go through all them tough fights and fighting around Europe and all that to get to that stage, obviously. But yeah, that was fun.
Let's talk about your podcast. So it's called BoxNLife. Tell us about how you got started. What are you trying to do with it?
So I started writing a column for the Sunday Sun, which is the biggest newspaper in the north of England. I was writing their number one column, and I loved it, and I enjoyed it. I wasn't getting paid, and then I was doing that for like a year, and I got bored of it. So I thought I'll start my good friend Brendan Sharp, who he is.
Mm-hmm,
he's got a podcast, The Fighter and the Kid. He started a podcast. I didn't even know what a podcast was, so I thought I'll start one as well. So I started one as well, and it was just more of a hobby. It's more of a hobby right now, and the good thing I like about podcasts is when you get guests on, you learn all the time. Like, you've just learned some stuff about boxing from me, what you probably never knew before, about the Eastern Europeans or whatever. So now you learn, and that's a good thing. The thing I love to do is get guests on and learn from them. You know, I don't know where it's going to go. Maybe you can help me build it up so I can start earning some money from it, because you know, it's a hobby. I'm not earning any money from it, but I love doing it, and one of the best feelings for me right now is when I'm at conferences or whatever, and someone comes, "Oh, Tony, I listen to your podcast." Someone I don't know tells me I listen to the podcast. Wow. It's a great feeling. I love that shit. Yeah.
Have you ever done any commentary for boxing matches or anything like that?
I did it in the 2012 Olympics. Because I was in London. I got flew over from the BBC for a guest. But I was doing it for the Radio 5 Live Radio. And yeah, that was fun. Something I would kind of like to get more into. But the thing is, I'm not that much of a boxing fan right now. Because I've watched thousands and thousands of fights. Unless it's one of my friends fighting or a big fight, I'll watch it. But just for the general fight, I'm not really that much bothered about watching them, you know.
Yeah. But Jim Lampley's excited about it, though, isn't he?
Oh, he loves it.
Jim Lampley, the commentator. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
God, he's a poet.
Yeah, he loves it. He's doing well.
When you look at other fighters, like in the McGregor Mayweather fight, you could see it turn. You could see where Mayweather's strategy, you know, the tactics of Conor McGregor weren't going to work out. You know, you could see him fatiguing and getting slower and everything. Are you able to see that 2 rounds before we do, or what do you see when you see a fight like that?
Well, with that fight, I was in so much shock that Conor McGregor won the first 3 rounds. Was it 2 or 3 rounds?
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3.
Yeah, I was like, what? I didn't expect him to land a glove on Mayweather. I really didn't. I thought he had any chance whatsoever. So for him to win them 3 rounds, I think he's done absolutely amazing. Because there's not many people who can win that many rounds against Mayweather. But I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't predict that his conditioning was going to fall out the way it did. Even though if I really thought about it, I should have knew that, because in boxing, when you turn professional, you start off, you box maybe 2 or 3, 4 rounds. And then you move up to 6 rounds, then you move up to 8 rounds, then 10 rounds, and then probably after 15, 20 fights, you'll move into a 12-round fight. And you need that over the years to build your conditioning, to build your experience in a boxing match. Although he's done the 5-minute rounds in MMA, it's completely different with boxing. And he never had that. He went straight into a 12-rounder in his first fight against Mayweather. So if I really thought about it, which I never did before the fight, I should have seen that coming. But yeah, I think that's what killed him. If he had 15, 20 fights before and he could have done them rounds, it could have been a different fight.
What do you think Mayweather's strategy was in that fight? I mean, a lot of people are surprised that he can take a punch a little more than some people realize. You think, oh, he moves around because he can't take a punch. But no, he can take a punch to the head pretty well.
Yeah, I think we've seen him in the past when he got smashed with Sugar Shane Mosley's Horace right hand, who was a big puncher.
His head drubbed and came right back.
Yeah, like he can definitely take a punch. Mayweather said after that was his game plan, but his game plan, believe me, he never. His game plan wasn't to lose the first 3 rounds.
Sure,
you know.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a win for Conor McGregor, because obviously not won the fight, but like that's a massive positive for Conor McGregor and a massive kick in the teeth for all boxing fans that was hating on that fight before, because it was getting so much hate, much hate. I was one of the boxing purists who was excited about it. One of the few boxing purists who was very excited about it and couldn't wait for it. Yeah, he didn't go in there to do that, but obviously he wanted to get him and stop him in the late rounds, which made it an exciting fight. We didn't really see Mayweather in that many exciting fights.
Right.
So this was an exciting fight for Mayweather. Yeah. Probably one of his most exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, guys like him and Roy Jones, they were so good, they didn't have to ever put themselves in harm's way.
Right.
But granted, they're in a fight, but it's always engagement on their terms, because they can score when you can't even get close to them.
Yeah,
So
Roy
it's
Jones,
hard.
my favourite fighter of all time. I love that guy. Just a shame I never retired like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, because he's been knocked out quite a bit since he kept going. He should have retired like 15 years ago. Yeah.
Do you think that someone like Roy Jones Jr., who's well past his prime, or Bernard Hopkins, could a guy like that, would that be a better fight for a guy like Conor McGregor? I mean, granted, getting paid a lot of money aside, but to be, as far as being a competitive fighter, is that a better entry place? Can those guys still handle someone as young and as talented as Conor McGregor?
Yeah, I think they could. But I think the reason with Conor and Mayweather was that was the only fight for Conor that made sense.
Sure.
Because of the money and Magus.
Yeah, because he's not just fighting for the fighting chops. He's going to get paid.
Yeah, he got paid like ridiculous. I don't know how much it was. It was over 100 million, I think.
It was a lot.
But yeah, and well deserved, because fighting's a horrible sport. Like, to earn money as a fighter, it's like a 0.01% that you're going to do well from it, you know. So earn as much as you can, get in, earn money, and get out if you can do that. Because there's so many fighters out there that's been doing it forever, and they walk away from the sport with nothing apart from a big tax bill, a little bit punch drunk, and no plan B.
Yeah.
See it all the time.
Yeah.
You hear Mike Tyson. What did Mike Tyson say? What could be more humiliating than standing in front of 100,000 people with your shorts on, with somebody trying to kill you? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny after you fight, you think about stuff like that, like shit, and then you watch fight, you're like, wow, I really did that.
I have two more fighting questions for you, then we can do whatever else. But one of them is talk about the myth of I'd get in the ring with Mike Tyson for $10 million. You know, when the average guy says that, like, I can't believe anybody actually believes that, because they've never stood in front of someone that can literally kill you with their bare hands.
We see that all the time, but then you're just thinking about the $10 million. You're not thinking about the 110 fights that they had to get there as a schoolboy, fighting in like pubs and bars and all that for free. You know, it's easy to say I'll fight him for this much, but now you've got to put the work in, and you've got to. It takes years and years and years of hard work, dedication, injuries, and everything else just to get to the moment. If you are the 0.1% who can fight someone for $10 million, you know.
Yeah.
People is not willing to put the work in for that to get there. But
And
then you're really going to stand and get in there and fight them? I don't think so. I don't think so.
You'd have to rely on the mercy of someone like Mike Tyson to not absolutely destroy you.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't rely on that. And the other thing is when Conor McGregor, let's say he does win $100 million, as a guy who's been a pro fighter, what does he actually take home at the end of the day once he's paid taxes and paid his crew and paid for rooms and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know. At that level, I don't know what it is. At my level, I was earning around $45,000 a fight. And I give my trainer 10%. I pay taxes, which was like 25%. And then I pay me cornerman. But then as well, you've got to think, I'm talking about my experience. I've worked for 8 weeks in a training camp, which I've not earned any money.
Right.
I've been buying me food, me rent, and everything else. All that comes out of that as well. So, I mean, 45 grand is a lot for a fighter. Not many fighters even earn that. Like now, the average fighter will get is like 3-4 grand. I've got a friend who was here. He's 9-0 as a professional, former world silver medalist, fighting from where I live, and he got 3 grand for his last fight, £3,000, which is $5,000. After you've paid all of this shit out, it's shite. You know what I mean? The money's crap.
Yeah.
The money's crap. So, like I said, with boxing, you've got to make the money and get out, or make the money, invest it and get out. I was smart. I was one of the only Olympians, the only Olympian from my team when there was 8 of us who was smart with the money. I bought 5 houses. Every time I fought twice, I put the money down on a house, deposit on a house, and rent it out. So now I've owned 5 houses in the UK. Not worth an absolute fortune. I'm not a millionaire, but I've got a retirement off boxing. No, I've actually come out of boxing. I mean, I've got the gyms and that now, but if I never had the gyms now, I'd come out of boxing with something where that 99% don't. So I was smart.
Do you miss it at all? The excitement of a fighter preparing for it, or that sort of goal, having that intensive a goal?
You know what? When I first retired, I used to miss it because I was in England and the north of England in Sunderland. I was a household name, like not trying to be big-headed, but I was well known. Army fights were on TV. I was the only ever Olympian from the city, Olympic medalist as well. So everyone knew I was in the newspapers all the time. I was opening shops. I was going to restaurants, getting free meals, getting treated like a celebrity. And then I'd fight, and then after the fight, everyone, well done, Tony, well done. Yeah, I was on a pedestal and all that, and it was fucking great. You get people say, "Oh, I hate that." No, that was great, mate. That was amazing. You know, imagine it. Imagine the people. Oh, there's Tony. I was going there. Everyone's nice there and all that. I moved to America, and I started working in a gym, which is underground in Santa Monica, and not one person knew who I was. And that is pros, but as well, it was a bit shit. You know, I was starting from scratch, and and I knew I was never going to hit the high. See, the best feeling in the world is winning a fight. There's nothing. I've had like I say, I've had kids, and people say kids is the best thing ever. Now, when you're getting your hand raised after a fight, after 8 weeks of training hard, thinking about your opponent from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, dieting, making weight, all that horrible training and sparring, and then you get to the end, you have the fight, you win the fight, you get your hand raised. There's no better feeling than that. And knowing that you're never going to get that feeling ever again was the toughest thing. I've been retired now for 7 years, I think, and it's just the last couple of years I've really realised, you're not going to get that again. So I was always chasing something,
Sure.
Chasing it, and so now I know that I'm not going to get that again. So now I've got different goals with the fitness gyms and the education program. So them's me goals now, them's me highs now, and then with the podcast, like I said, when someone comes and says, "I listen to your podcast," that there's a little buzz for me,
Yeah.
Yeah, those moments when you have a really great interview and a great interaction, it's not quite as good as having your hand raised, but it's in that category. You know, where you just come out, you're just like, "Oh, that was awesome."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels really good, and I think that's a big thing. You see a lot of fighters or sports stars as well getting depressed as well when they have to retire, especially when they retire with injuries. Because now I haven't got the 45 grand lump sums coming in anymore. So, I mean, I'm alright now. I'm comfortable now. But at first, I was like, shit. I started thinking about money again. I never had to think about money for a few years. So you start thinking about that, and I think a lot of athletes, even who earn way more than me, they'll retire and they'll live in this amazing lifestyle to try to continue that, and they can't continue it because they haven't got the income coming in.
Yeah. Do you get taught that in the in the elite fighting program, like in the UK? Like, hey, knuckleheads, start setting aside money.
Real estate, kid.
Yeah.
Right? Listen, come over here.
You don't need cars and champagne.
You don't get taught nothing like that. Another thing you don't get taught is you're going to get criticised. And criticism's hard. Like, I remember I think it was my 5th pro fight. I was fighting this tough guy. He was a journeyman as well, but he smashed me with a right hand. I took the punch well. I won the fight. I won every single round in the fight. I got caught with one right hand. And then the internet forums was blown up. He's fucking shite. He should never got caught with this one punch. I never got dropped. I never got wobbled. I just got caught with a punch. I'm like, it's boxing, for fuck's sake. I'm going to get hit with a punch. So I get punched, and then everyone's, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. And this really, all this criticism and all the hate got me feeling down, and it really, really hurt us deep inside. And then I had a fight where I drew. So this is how crooked boxing is. So my promoter told me that I'm fighting an 8-round fight. All my fights have been 6 rounds. This is my first step up for an 8-round fight. I got injured 6 weeks before the fight. I hurt my arm. I said, I can't fight. I'm pulling out. But no, we need you to fight. We're fighting in your hometown, Sunderland. You need your fight. Well, I can't fight. I'm not fighting 6 rounds. I'm no sparring. Preparation's been shite and all that. He's like, well, we'll knock it down to 6 rounds. You're fighting this tough journeyman. You'll be good. 6 rounds and all that. So I'm like, oh. So all right, I took the fight. Preparation was shite. I fought the 6 rounds. After 6 rounds, I went to the referee from to raise my hands. The referee said, "You've got 2 rounds left." Right. So the promoter screwed us up.
Yeah.
He told me that just so I would fight. Right. It's kind of like imagine if you run a 6-mile run. The last mile you put 100% in. You get the finish line. Come on, stand up. You've got 2 more miles left. It's like fucking heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
So, but the TV people never knew about this. They all knew because it says in the bottom corner it's an 8-round fight. They didn't understand what had happened. And I got sat back the corner. I was just exhausted. I said to my coach. My coach was like, I had a cut. I had a thing putting his thing in my eye, another thing on my nose. I couldn't breathe. I was like this. It was a fucking horrible, worst experience of my life. So I got to box another 2 more rounds. Got beat open these last 2 rounds. Exhausted. I was falling on the floor. I looked horrible. I got back to the changing room. The fight was a draw. I drew the fight. I got back to the changing rooms. I was being sick. I had to go to the hospital because I was that exhausted. I could have got killed in the fucking ring just because this greedy bastard promoter wanted me to fight so he get the ticket sales of all my fight, all the things. And then it was that fight. That was the fight where I got so much criticism. It broke my heart. I made us fall out of love with boxing. So the original question: do you get taught about finances? No, you don't. And you don't get taught about. You're going to get criticised because I was a piece of shit. Every person just thought, they don't look at you as a human being with feelings. They look at you as a superstar making loads of money, where it's not. At the end of the day, you're a human being. But now that, it took a couple of months to get over, that there made me a way stronger person, Yes, but you never got taught anything like that. Just a boy next door. I used to work on a catering trailer flipping burgers, to getting 1,000 people telling us that I'm fucking shite and I'm not going to do anything and I'm a waste of time and I'm this and I'm that. It's like, doesn't matter what you do if you're in the limelight, like you're a podcaster. If you get 1,000 people telling you you're a shit podcaster, your podcast shit, and you're putting all this time and energy and effort into it, and they
feel bad and you're faking it.
Yeah, but there seems like there's different ways of dealing with that. Obviously, that kind of criticism. I mean, on one, you can kind of accept it for what it is. People are going to think what they think. Like they say, don't worry about if the sand is hot, just get a pair of sandals. Because you can walk on anything. But you see some boxers specifically, like really coming up, I'm the great. I mean, like Muhammad Ali. Like, is that why they developed this oversized ego? I'm the greatest in the world. I'm the greatest fighter. He will not last 2 rounds with me. This will be my fight. Do you find people like inflating themselves ahead of that for the criticism, or is it necessary?
There's not many fighters like that. Even if you look at Floyd Mayweather, who's called himself the greatest of all time, the greatest ever. When you look at his first few fights, he was humble, he was down to earth, he was quiet, and then he started to realise, if I start doing this, I want to make more money.
So it's part of their persona.
Yeah, even Ali, his first few fights, I don't believe that he was. I don't know, I might be wrong. I don't believe he was as cocky and as
Cassius Clay. He was
exactly. And he changed the name and he went all big. But they started to realise that's what sells tickets and all that. But yeah, I mean, and they bring the criticism on. There's not many fighters that want to do that. That's why 90% of fighters or 95% of fighters are all humble and they don't get in each other's faces. You get the odd fighter that's all crazy and I want to do this and do that, which is the fighters that make money. But yeah, but when you're getting criticised, it's easy to see. Like, just ignore it. But you cannot. It's tough. It's tough when you put your life into something, and someone's telling you, "Oh, you're shite, you crap, pack it in." You're not going to go very far. It's heartbreaking. It really is, But it made us a stronger person.
The things that happen outside of your control in the ring, like Chael Sonnen just about beats John Jones' bones in the ring because Jones' toe is sticking straight up in the air. It's absolutely destroyed. And Chael wasn't winning the fight, and he got called moments, like 30 seconds, 10 seconds before the fight was going to be over in his favor. Or who's the English guy? Henry Zama, the guy that knocked out Ali, but only through like crafty ringsmanship did he make. Do you know about this fight?
No, what fight?
It's Ali. It's early on. It's black and white, and this guy Henry
Cooper.
Henry Cooper, absolutely catches Ali, who happens to be against the ropes. So he falls, and the ropes kind of save him from the full like head hitting on the canvas fall. And so he gets back to his corner because it's right at the end of the round. And there's like a 45-second break because whoever it was, like the Lou Duva I can't remember his name at the time. He's like, Ali's glove is torn. And then there's like smelling salts under Ali's nose, which is against the rules. All these things happen. And so Ali's able to recover and then survives the fight. And it's just crazy. And then Henry fights him again, but his face is such a massive scar tissue. He's never going to be able to do a 15-round fight, so slowly he gets opened up. But if you watch those old fights, it's easy that he beats Ali in another, like if they were to have fought in another universe, he had something for Ali that Ali didn't have an answer for. Yeah. But totally out of his control, it's just the other side, the ringsmanship worked out. It's crazy how those things play out like that.
Yeah, it is. I never, and like you said, he cut the glove and all that. That's how crooked boxing is. He cut his glove so he got to get his glove changed to give him more time to recover. That shit happens in boxing. Like,
he literally had smelling salts out, and you can't do that either. You know, it's like,
I don't think it's as bad now because they've got officials in the corners like watching everything you do.
Right.
But back then it was even more crooked. Like back in Mike Tyson's day where he got ripped off Don King, like so much money. Yeah. It's so sad. My old trainer, Tommy Brooks, he used to train Mike Tyson. He trained Mike Tyson for 10 pro fights. And he was telling me stories about him. And he said Mike Tyson had 18 cars and he was paying for insurance for 25 people to drive his 18 cars when he was in fight camp. Like, he had that many clingers on. he said he'd give the DJ of his fight camp $100,000 to play music during the fight, just during the training camp. He just had people clinging on, and you know, it's pretty sad. And obviously, we all know Mike Tyson's background. He come from absolutely nothing, from the gutter, and now he's getting this money, and he's got people talking in his ears, and he's uneducated, and people's just grabbing what they can from it. It's really sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, we've had you for about an hour, so don't want to take all of your time. Yeah. So tell everybody. So like we have people that live up in Ventura County that can't necessarily come down here. We got Charlie up in Toronto, Tish. These are people that listen to the show. There's a guy named Chris in Australia. What do these guys do if they want to see more about you? Where do they go to learn? Obviously the podcast, plug that. But how do they get to learn more about fighting for a workout?
Yeah, check out the BoxNLife podcast, and then on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram, Tony_Jeffries, and I put boxing tips on there. If you're not on Instagram, are you two boys on Instagram?
Yeah, I followed you.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. If you're not on Instagram, you need to be on Instagram. It's the big social media platform now. See, I do a lot of social media marketing. I run 5 Instagram accounts right now with the gyms and the academy and all that. But yeah, you can get me on Instagram. I'm always on there, and you can DM me on there as well. You can ask me any questions you want about that stuff.
Yeah, Tony's great. He was super responsive, and
so let's talk about how we met. So I'm googling how to change from Podomatic to SoundCloud, and trying to think of different things. And I've come up with the top article I come up was an article that you written. Wow. Yeah, so I'm reading your article. It was a great article, by the way. Then I seen your Twitter account was on. Or did I Google it? Yeah, and I clicked on the link that took us straight through. Yeah. And then I tweeted you, and you tweeted straight back. And next thing, we're best friends, and we're here. You know.
I want to come do a workout too.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting back from hernia surgery.
Me too.
Yeah.
We'll come down and you can teach
fun.
us and everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate your time. And for sure, check out your podcast. For sure, follow Tony on social media. I'll put all those links in the show. And thank you so much.
What's the website?
BreakItDownShow.com.
BreakItDownShow.com.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
That's the main one.
Right. Nice. Thank you, boys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tony.